Hare Krishna. For your good company on this auspicious occasion, Sri Krishna Janmastami. We will chant a verse today from the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila chapter 25, text 270. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda.
Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda.
Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Go Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Go Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda.
Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda.
Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Go Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Go Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda.
Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda.
Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Go Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Go Bhakta Vrinda.
Iha prasade poiva Krishna tapasar.
Iha prasade poiva Krishna tapasar.
Sarva Shastra Siddhantir Ihan Poiva Par.
Sarva Shastra Siddhantera Ihan Poiva.
Iha Prasade.
Iha prasade.
By hearing these teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
By hearing these teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Poiva. You will get. Krishna Tattvasar.
Krishna Tattvasar.
The essence of the truth of Krishna.
The essence of the truth of Krishna.
Sarva Shastra.
Sarva Shastra.
Of all revealed scriptures.
Of all revealed scriptures.
Siddhantera.
Siddhantera.
Of conclusions.
Of conclusions.
Ihan.
Ihan.
Here.
Poiva.
Poiva. You will get.
You will get.
Par. The ultimate limit.
The ultimate limit.
Translation. By understanding the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one can understand the truth about Krishna. By understanding Krishna, one can understand the limit of all knowledge described in various revealed scriptures. Turn this microphone down a bit, it's feeding back. Purport. As Lord Krishna states in the Bhagavad Gita 7.3, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kaschin mam veti tattvataha. Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavour for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. It is very difficult to understand Krishna, but if one tries to understand Srimad Bhagavatam through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Bhakti cult, one will undoubtedly understand Krishna very easily. If somehow or other one understands Krishna, his life is successful. Again, as Krishna states in the Bhagavad Gita 4.9, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvataha tyaktva deyang punar janma naiti mam eti sorjuna. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gahora Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Sri Krishna Janmastami today, the appearance day of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his original form. I just realized I didn't change the slide. sorry about that. Better late than never. You can catch up on it in your spare time in between all my... the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his original form, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. And accompanying the appearance of Sri Krishna is the appearance of the greatest opportunity for us to have a truly successful life. I remember almost 3 decades ago reading this definition of success mentioned in today's purport and thinking that's a novel concept. Real success means understanding Krishna. And wondering, how is that? Perhaps, it was a real head scratcher. Perhaps it was the same for many of us when we first heard that. How is it that understanding Krishna is real success? To begin to understand that, we have to, first of all, assimilate that what we call life is actually just a non-stop problem-solving exercise. And it's a problem-solving exercise that never ends. There's the eating problem, the sleeping problem, the mating problem, the defending problem. And when Shastra starkly points out to us that that's really all that's going on in material life, what is implied is that we are forced to engage in a non-stop problem-solving exercise. In other words, these are all problems that we're forced to solve in this material world. So what we call life is simply, at least according to Shastra, a non-stop problem-solving exercise. Now that might sound negative, but the reality is that's really all that's going on. And so what we call happiness and success is really just a temporary solution to one or more of these problems. And failure means the opposite when you fail to solve these basic problems. And when we say that the problem-solving exercise never ends, we're fingering something that goes under the radar unless you have some spiritual knowledge. Because although our attempts at problem-solving in these various ways may appear successful in the short term, they actually increase our problems because they entangle us in samsara, which is the ultimate cause of all the problems that we're trying to solve. It's a very strange situation, actually. You think about it with a cool head. Your attempts at problem solving simply increase your problems because they entangle you in the process, which in of itself is the cause of all your problems. Now, when Prabhupada says here in the purport, if somehow or other one understands Krishna, his life is successful, what does he mean? He means that understanding of Krishna, if you can actually understand Krishna in truth, is the ultimate solution to the non-stop problem-solving exercise that we call life. Because by that understanding, you can go back home, back to Godhead. And in this way, you can permanently solve not just the day-to-day problems, the eating problem, the sleeping problem, etc. But you can solve, more importantly, your existential problem which is the cause of all the other problems. The existential problem, of course, is called samsara, a cycle of repeated birth, death, old age and disease. But it is true that you have to be a bit fortunate to resonate with this gold standard of success that Krishna is trying to give us in the Bhagavad Gita. And that's especially true in Kali Yuga, the present age. What is the Kali Yuga standard of success? It's measured quantitatively in terms of consumption. In other words, first of all, you have to understand your constitutional position as a resident of Kali Yuga. What is your constitutional position? As a resident of Kali Yuga, you are, particularly at this time and place, a consumer. You are an enjoyer of your senses. And so the more you can consume, by that definition, the better your life is. The more successful your life is. The more material achievements you can rack up, the more acquisitions you have, the more relationships you get into and get out of, the more entertainment that you endure, the more travel you partake in, the more peak moments you have, the more successful your life is. In other words, the mantra, the success mantra in Kali Yuga is more is better. More consumption means a better life, a more successful life. And of course, for all that consumption, you need money. As the Bhagavatam points out. Grihakshetra sutaktavataya. For all that consumption, you need money. So therefore, in order to consume more, you need to produce more, particularly more money. And the more the better, right? And that's why people think that money is the key to success, more or less, but hopefully more. So in Kali Yuga, the bottom line for success is literally the bottom line. The more money you have, the better, the more successful your life is, because that empowers you to consume more. But today, Krishna is trying to revolutionize our definition of success by giving us the gold standard. As we hear, Krishna's perspective here on success, his success formula, is quite different from what most people would consider success to be today, particularly. Our human life is only truly successful if it culminates in a permanent solution to the problems of life. Anything else is considered a failure. It's a revolutionary presentation. So no one likes to think of their life as a failure, or that life is going to be a failure. But actually only the most fortunate people, it's all you guys, Krishna's devotees, can actually understand what real failure is and what real success is for a human being. And so to save us from the greatest calamity of a failed human life, Krishna appears in so many incarnations, right? Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuttanam adharmasya tadatmanam sujami aham. Sambhavami yuge yuge. Krishna says, yuga after yuga, I'm appearing in so many different forms to give you the gold standard success formula. He gives us a profound philosophical understanding by speaking Bhagavad Gita. He allows us to understand in the Gita what is actually real failure and real success for a human being. And also, once in a day of Brahma, which is a long time, Krishna makes a special appearance in his original form. He's not an avatar, but he's the source of all the avatars. And because that's the case, he brings with him not just the profound philosophical understanding of our situation down here on the ground, but he also brings with him his most confidential devotees and most confidential pastimes. Those confidential pastimes are supremely attractive, particularly his Vrindavan Leela. He does that to attract our hearts because he knows that our life is a pursuit of attraction, and unless we actually gain a higher attraction, we will succumb, unfortunately, to a failed human life. So in order to give us the gold standard success package, Krishna brings both the formula, the success formula for the head and the heart. So the next question then should be, how do we understand Krishna? As Srila Prabhupada is explaining today, it's not so easy. It's actually very, very difficult. And we only have that opportunity, as we hear, by the grace of Krishna as Sri Krishna Chaitanya. That's why we simultaneously worship Krishna and Lord Chaitanya. Sometimes you will see in various temples there will be the deities of Radha and Krishna, and on the same altar a deity of Lord Chaitanya. The significance is that Lord Chaitanya is Radha and Krishna, but he's Radha and Krishna appearing in this age to reveal the truth about Radha and Krishna, and in this way give us an opportunity for real success. As we hear in the verse, by understanding the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one can understand the truth about Krishna. By understanding Krishna, one can understand the limit of all knowledge described in various revealed scriptures. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada said, it is very difficult to understand Krishna, but if one tries to understand Srimad Bhagavatam through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Bhakti cult, one will undoubtedly understand Krishna very easily. If somehow or other one understands Krishna, his life is successful. So Lord Chaitanya, he's the origin of the We Make It Easy program. His name is Krishna Chaitanya, which means literally Krishna consciousness. And Shastra names are very important. They let you know exactly what the person or persons are about. So Krishna Chaitanya lets us know exactly what he's about. He's about Krishna consciousness. And he's giving the opportunity in the age of Kali to become conscious of Krishna and to therefore make a permanent solution to the problem-solving exercise that we call life. That is the gold standard of success that Mahaprabhu has come to offer to us. So our goal then, if we are fortunate and we do want a truly successful life, is to become conscious of Krishna. But what does that mean? What does it mean to be conscious of Krishna? If someone asked you, what does Krishna consciousness mean in one sentence? How would you answer that? Anyone want to have a stab at it?
To think how to please Krishna.
To think how to please Krishna. Any advances on that?
Always remember him and never forget him.
To always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna.
To understand Krishna.
To understand Krishna. Anybody else, ladies? If someone asked you, what does it mean to be Krishna, conscious of Krishna? You just have one sentence. How would you describe? How would you answer this?
To be conscious of the source of everything.
To be conscious of the source of everything. Okay?
Connection with Krishna.
Connection with Krishna. Very good.
To see the world as Krishna does.
To see the world as Krishna does. Okay. Anybody else? It's getting exciting. There's more to come as well. So just warming up.
Reigniting our eternal position.
Reigniting our eternal position. Ooh, I like that one. Anyone else? Any other ladies? Shall we hear what the author of the book, what his thoughts on this are? We'll see how close we got. Huh? Krishna Tattva, Bhakti Tattva, Prema Tattva Sar, Bhava Tattva, Rasa Tattva, Leela Tattva Ar. So this is Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami's answer to that question. Krishna consciousness means understanding the truth of Krishna, the truth of devotional service, the truth of love of Godhead, the truth of emotional ecstasy, the truth of transcendental mellows, and the truth of the pastimes of the Lord. So, in summary, we could say that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says Krishna consciousness means understanding the truth. That's the basic principle of religion, truth. Religion or dharma means the truth. But here, he's giving us 6 categories of truth. That truth is called tattva, that constitute Krishna consciousness. So I thought it would be fun to have a little look at these. And maybe we can see how we would explain them. The first truth is the truth of Krishna. I think this gentleman said that. Understanding Krishna. So, that's called Krishna Tattva, the truth of Krishna. Anyone want to have a stab at what that means? The truth of Krishna? What's the truth of Krishna?
He's a person.
He's a person? Okay, we're getting there. That's pretty close. Anyone want to add to that? He's a person, he's the Supreme Person. Great. Wow, we're really, that's great. Here we have a verse explaining that. This is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 3, famous verse. This is actually called the Paribhasa Sutra, in case you're interested in technical jargon. And that means it's a verse that is really allowing you to understand the essence of this particular book. And so this is the essence then of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Lord Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. Let's have a look at these word meanings. So the first word is Krishna. So Krishna is made up of two words, Krish. Krish means attraction. And then the second syllable is na, which means pleasure. Again, names are very important in Shastra. So Krishna's name lets us know exactly what he's about. He's the all-attractive reservoir of pleasure. Krishna. And the next word is tu, which means but. Hold that thought. The next word is Bhagavan. Now Bhagavan explains why he's the all-attractive reservoir of pleasure. Bhaga means opulences, Van means the possessor. So why is it that Krishna is the all-attractive reservoir of pleasure? Because he's Bhagavan. He's the possessor of all 6 opulences in full. We know those opulences: wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. So anyone that has those 6 opulences in full to an unlimited degree is Bhagavan, and subsequently is also all attractive and full of pleasure. So imagine how attractive we would be if we had those opulences. Imagine what kind of pleasure we could tap into if we were Bhagavan. Hold that thought. We will return to it. And the last word in this verse, in the line, is Swayam. Now, Swayam means in person. So in the context of where this verse is spoken in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Sutta Goswami has explained so many incarnations of Godhead. And then he says, but Krishna is the Supreme Personality in person. So he's not a representative of the Supreme Person. He is the Supreme Person in person. It's like you might have a what do they call those? A diplomat who represents a country. And so he's given the same honour and he has the same power actually as the leader of the country, even though he's not the leader. But then you have the leader in person. So
Ambassadors.
Yeah. What is it again? Ambassador. That's it. An ambassador. Yeah. So in one sense, we can say the other incarnations of Godhead are like ambassadors. In one sense, you can say that. But Krishna is the source of all the other avatars, the source of all the ambassadors, so to speak. He's the Supreme Personality in person. In other words, he's the original form of God and the origin of all the other forms. Krishnas tu Bhagavan Swayam. So that is, in a very condensed way, the truth of Krishna Tattva. The next one in the list is the truth of devotional service. That's called Bhakti Tattva. Does anyone want to have a go at what this means? Bhakti Tattva. Just fire away. What is Bhakti Tattva? What's the truth of devotional service?
Science of devotional service.
The science of devotional service. I like that one. Yeah, I like that definition. The science, because science implies that it's something that you experience. It's not simply a theory. It's not just something you believe in. It's something you experience as a tangible reality. So, in the context of these 6 truths, we can take devotional service to mean sadhana bhakti. Right? That means devotional service in practice. It's the means or the process to reawaken our dormant love for Krishna. Here it is explained in Shastra. If you know the verse, you can chant it along with me. Kriti sadhya bhavet sadhya bhava sa sadhana bida nitya siddhasya bhavasya prakatyam hridi sadhyata. When transcendental devotional service, by which love for Krishna is attained, is executed by the senses, it is called sadhana bhakti, or the regular discharge of devotional service. Such devotion eternally exists within the heart of every living entity. The awakening of this eternal devotion is the potentiality of devotional service in practice. So you may remember Srila Prabhupada in the Nectar of Devotion, when he's explaining sadhana bhakti, he gives the analogy of a child learning to walk. And he explains that because the walking capacity is originally there in the child, with a little practice, he learns to walk very nicely. And he explains that devotional service in practice is not for developing something artificial. Right? So we should understand that because we originally have the propensity to love Krishna, when we're practicing devotional service, when we're at this stage of sadhana bhakti, we're not practicing something artificial or to awaken something that's artificial. We're practicing to revive something that we already have the propensity for, but have just forgotten. And practice, of course, makes perfect. So that is, in a concise form, the truth of devotional service, Bhakti Tattva. That's the second truth. Now, the third truth is the truth of ecstatic love of Godhead, Prema Tattva. Anyone want to have a stab at this one? Prema Tattva? Remember, this is what it means to be Krishna conscious. You know the truth of all these tattvas, the truth of all the truths. Of course, this is the perfected stage of bhakti. This is the fruit of your practice. No one wants to have a stab at this? What Prema Tattva is?
Goal. Goal.
The goal. It is the goal, for sure. Remember Lord Chaitanya said, Prema Pumato Mahan. It is the highest goal of life. Sorry, you were going to say?
I just said to serve with love.
To serve with love. Yes. Because in the stage of sadhana bhakti, we're serving, but it's not necessarily with love. It's more like out of duty. Or it can be mixed with, love can be mixed with duty or mixed with a lot of things. But at Prema Tattva means there's no mixture. It's just all love. Let's have a look at the Shastra defining. Prema Tattva. Samyan Mashrinita Swanto Mamatva Tishayan Kitaha Bhava Seva Sandratma Buddhai Prema Nagadyate. When that bhava softens the heart completely, becomes endowed with a great feeling of possessiveness in relation to the Lord, and becomes very much condensed and intensified, it is called prema, love of Godhead, by learned scholars. So in sadhana bhakti, the practice of devotional service, we're trying to revive the general consciousness or awareness that I am Krishna's servant. In Prema Bhakti, that understanding becomes more specific, and therefore it leads to what's called in this verse mamatva, which is a strong sense of ownership. So instead of thinking I am Krishna's servant, we think Krishna is mine. Krishna is my master. He's my son. He's my friend. He's my lover. Mamatva tashayankataha. Very strong sense of ownership. And just like a parent thinks about their child. It's my child. So Krishna consciousness, when you attain prema, you think that about Krishna. Krishna's mine. And this prema is so powerful that Krishna agrees to come under its control. And you read about that in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the 10th canto. In the Damodar Lila, he's coming under the control of his mother's love. In the Rasa Lila, he's coming under the control of the gopis' love, particularly that of Srimati Radharani. And it's also so powerful that those who possess it, the prema bhaktas, they enjoy serving Krishna more than Krishna enjoys being served by them. So that's why Krishna comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to, you could say, maintain his position as the supreme enjoyer. Because as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's Krishna relishing this highest level of bhakti, prema bhakti. Specifically Mahabhava, which is the highest level of prema bhakti. So that's the third tattva, the truth of ecstatic love of Godhead. 4, the emotional truth, bhava tattva. Anyone want to shed some light on bhava tattva? Bhava tattva is a little mysterious because technically speaking, it's the goal of sadhana. Prema is not the goal of sadhana. Bhava is the goal of sadhana. Because before we get to the stage of prema, we pass through a preliminary stage of prema called bhava. Here's what the Shastra says about that stage. Shuddha sattva visheshatma prema suryangshu samyabhak ruchibis chittamasrinya kirdasal bhava uchate. When devotional service is executed on the transcendental platform of pure goodness, it is like a sun ray of love for Krishna. At such a time, devotional service causes the heart to be softened by various tastes, and one is then situated in bhava, emotion. So we pass through this stage called bhava on the way to praying. Bhava is described here as prema surya ankshu. Right, so surya means the sun. Prema surya means the sun of prema, or the sun of ecstatic love. And ankshu is the ray. So the bhava stage is the ray of the sun of prema. Now the sun and the sun's ray, they have the same quality, qualitatively the same. But quantitatively there's a huge difference. Having the sun ray in your room and having the sun in your room, one but also different. So bhava is the ray, prema is the sun. And at this stage you become qualified for Krishna's darshan, and ecstatic spiritual emotions develop. Therefore it's called the emotional truth, bhava tattva. We like to be emotional as conditioned souls, but actually we don't know anything about real emotions, emotions that come from Shuddha Sattva, the spiritual platform. And this verse says, Ruchibis chittamasrinya, the heart is softened by various tastes. What does it mean to have a soft heart? We know the Bhagavatam explaining the opposite in the 2nd canto, the steel-framed heart. Even when you chant the holy name of Krishna with great concentration, there's no ecstasy. The Bhagavatam puts that down to the steel-framed heart. But here we're talking about the heart that has become soft. So what does it mean to be soft-hearted? Non-envious? Definitely. But if you see a soft-hearted person, why do you say that they're soft-hearted?
Empathetic. Empathetic.
Empathetic. They have empathy for others. Yeah. It means they're easily moved by emotion. Their hearts they become emotional easily, right? So at this stage of bhava, the heart becomes easily moved by Krishna and by Krishna conscious stimuli. Rupa Goswami calls that vibhava, various types of impelling force, like the sound of Krishna's flute, right? Tinkling of his ankle bells, his transcendental form, his holy name, and his devotees. And also the heart is softened by various tastes. So those tastes are various pure devotional desires that awaken in the heart on this liberated platform. Okay, moving on. The fifth tattva, rasa tattva, the truth of transcendental mellows. Anyone want to have a stab at that? What is the truth of transcendental mellows?
Exchange of emotion.
Exchange of emotion. Yeah, that's a good description.
Maybe essence meaning the nature or the essence.
Nature of the essence. Yeah, that's a good description as well. Let's have a look at some Shastric definition here. Nigama kalpataro galitam palam shuka mukaram mrita drava samyutam pibita bhagavatam rasamalayam mohu ohorasika bhuvi bhavuka. O expert and thoughtful men and women, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desire tree of Vedic literatures. It emanated from the lips of Sri Shukadev Goswami. Therefore this fruit has become even more tasteful, although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including liberated souls. Srimad Bhagavatam is a rasa shastra and is compared to the ripened fruit of the desire tree of the Vedas here in this verse. Nigama kalpataro galitam palam. So here in the third verse of the book, we get a definition of rasa, which one can relish in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, as we hear in this verse, if one is bhavuka, which means expert and thoughtful, and rasika. Rasika is one who is knowledgeable, who has full knowledge of the mellows of devotional service, or rasa. So in bhakti, relationships are compared to fruits, and rasa means juice. It's the aspect of the fruit which is relishable, that aspect of the fruit which allows us to experience its flavour. It's like this gentleman said, the essence, it's the essence of the fruit. So rasa then is the juice of the fruit of prema, or love. And it has 12 flavours, 5 primary, 7 secondary. Anyone know the flavours? What about the 5 primary flavours? 5 primary rasas?
Neutrality.
Neutrality, dasya, servitude, friendship, yeah, vatsalya, parenthood, and madhurya, conjugal love. Okay, so those are the 5 primary rasas and 7 secondary rasas. Adbhuta. Adbhuta means? Wonder. Right? Like Arjuna when he saw the universal form, right? His rasa changed from friendship to wonder. So we've got 6 more to go.
Chivalry.
Chivalry, virya. Yep.
It's horror.
Like our wonderful manager, Vera Gopi.
Ghastliness.
Ghastliness, which is called Vibhatsa. 4 more.
Hasya.
Huh?
Hasya.
Hasya, yes, comedy or laughter. 3 more. Krodha, anger. 2 more. Karuna, compassion, like our other wonderful manager. Karuna, Mai. 1 more. Dread, Bhayanaka, or fear. And so these are the 12 different flavors or rasas that the devotee can experience and that Krishna can experience, because Krishna himself is rasa, right? Rupa Goswami says he's Akila Rasamrita Murti. His form is rasa. His form is the taste of love. So the Madhurya rasa, that gives the greatest flavour to the devotee and to the Lord, particularly in the Parakya division. And that flavour is even greater in separation than in meeting the beloved. So this was the teaching of Lord Chaitanya. Right? To serve Krishna, to love Krishna in that mood of separation. Vipralamba. Right? So that's why Mahaprabhu himself, he spent the last 12 years of his life relishing that feeling of separation from Krishna, that highest rasa. So that is the truth of transcendental mellows, in a very concise way, of course, rasa tattva. And then the 6th truth is the truth of the pastimes of the Lord, lila tattva. What is the truth about Krishna's pastimes? They're eternal. Yeah, and what does that mean? If something's eternal, then it's spiritual, right? It's not a product of the material energy. So the truth of Krishna's pastimes is that they're all transcendental. Like he says in the verse we read in the purport today. Janma karma chame divyam. That means that there's no force in Krishna's pastimes. And there's no anxiety, there's no distress, there's no suffering, there's just ever-increasing pleasure. We can't really say that about our so-called pastimes, can we? That there's no force and there's just ever-increasing pleasure. We can't say that because our so-called pastimes are products of the gunas, the 3 modes of nature which push us to do things. They push us even just in those basic problems of life. They push us to eat. I bet everybody's feeling that now. Good example, huh? Feel how the modes of nature are pushing you to eat. Of course, we think, well, I'm choosing to eat. We may choose what we eat, but we still have to eat something. Same with all the others. Modes of nature push us to sleep, push us to mate, push us to defend ourselves. Krishna's never pushed around in his pastimes. Everything's completely voluntary. And our so-called pastimes are all temporary. They're full of ignorance, suffering. But Krishna's pastimes, his appearance, including his appearance and his disappearance, are all products of his internal potency. So they're all the opposite of what we experience as so-called pastimes. Sat, Chit, Ananda. They're eternal. They're full of knowledge, full of bliss. So therefore in this verse he calls them divyam, transcendental or divine. And remember, he's Bhagavan, right? He's the possessor of all opulences. So again, imagine what we would do if we had all 6 opulences. Would we play video games? Would we go on social media? Would we go to the pub? Probably not. We actually only do those things because we don't have Krishna's opulences. It's funny because people generally consider Krishna's pastimes to be mythology. But Krishna's pastimes are exactly the things that we would do if we could. If we actually could do what Krishna does, we'd do it in a second. We wouldn't be playing video games, wouldn't be on social media, wouldn't be on the internet, wouldn't be at the pub. We'd be doing what Krishna does. And because Krishna can do those things, due to his position as Bhagavan, as Srila Prabhupada explains in the Krishna book, every one of his activities is unparalleled in the history of the world. That's the truth of Krishna Leela, right? The truth of the pastimes of the Lord, Leela Tattva. So by becoming conscious of Krishna, which means understanding these 6 truths, according to Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, so that's the truth of Krishna, the truth of Bhakti, the truth of Prema, the truth of Bhava, the truth of Rasa, and the truth of Leela, then we actually achieve the gold standard of success. In other words, how do you have a truly successful life? You become Krishna conscious. Now, just to conclude, I wanted to read a couple of texts from the Srimad Bhagavatam. This last category of truth is Leela Tattva. Today we're celebrating Krishna's appearance, Leela, in which there's certainly great mystery and drama, all composed of eternity, knowledge and bliss. You may recall he appeared in the prison house of Kamsa, his maternal uncle, first in the mind of his father Vasudeva, and then he was transferred like the rays of the setting sun to the full moon rising in the east, from the mind of Vasudeva to the mind and the womb of his mother, Devaki. And then at midnight, when all the conditions were perfect, the Bhagavatam explains. The demigods and great saintly persons showered flowers in a joyous mood, and clouds gathered in the sky and very mildly thundered, making sounds like those of the ocean waves. You picture that? So the demigods and the great saintly persons, they're showering flowers in a joyous mood. Clouds gathered in the sky, very mildly thundering, making sounds like those of the ocean waves. Then the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, who is situated in the core of everyone's heart, appeared from the heart of Devaki in the dense darkness of night, like the full moon rising on the eastern horizon, because Devaki was of the same category as Sri Krishna. Vasudeva then saw the newborn child, who had very wonderful lotus-like eyes, and who bore in his 4 hands the 4 weapons, Shankha, Chakra, Gada, and Padma. On his chest was the mark of Srivatsa, and on his neck the brilliant Kaustuba gem. Dressed in yellow, his body blackish like a dense cloud, his scattered hair fully grown, and his helmet and earrings sparkling uncommonly with the valuable gem Vaidurya. The child, decorated with a brilliant belt, armlets, bangles and other ornaments, appeared very wonderful. Shri Krishna Janmastami ki Jai. Oh Premanandi. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Krishna.